Hey, hello once again, world of YouTube. My name is Pat, and this is a video that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I'm trying to collect my thoughts and put it together and like come up to a direction of doing this. But really, I'm just gonna dive into it and hack at it, and maybe I'll re-release a better video in the future. But basically, here's my little rant about baby boomers, and I think it's really funny as like the generation that baby boomers came from, and that they were in the '60s and all that, and the free-loving spirit children, LSD taking, some pot smoking, like free love people and all that. And it's like it's so funny that the second that they come into power, that we are more puritanical and more oppressive and more repressed than any other generation before us. And like I have another video where there's a Pepsi commercial where it's showing all these generations doing various things that are just straight up criminalized today. And I think it's really funny about how everything is just so damn criminalized and how scared and frail these baby boomers are. And I guess this is just one big hate speech about, yeah, fuck you, baby boomers. And I really do feel that way. I mean, you've pretty much ruined the entire country for us. I mean that. I mean, you really have. I mean, I'm not even just talking about Social Security and healthcare and like just thing upon thing, but like you have made nothing but miserable decision upon miserable decision, and drove us further and further into this totalitarian, authoritative, like screw up once and you're in prison for your entire life kind of mentality. And that you seem to think of like people as disposable entities, and that like more so than ever throughout your generation taking over, has the government been more and more and more involved with the regulation of morality. And that's just a fundamental, like, that's fundamentally wrong to me. I feel that like the regulation of morality should be up to individuals, and the only purpose of the law should be like to preserve civil liberties. So I mean, yeah, I mean, say like murder, people will be like, well, that's protecting like morals. That's a moral law. And like, well, yeah, but they're also protecting the civil liberty of the person who's being murdered, and that's why it exists. But as far as laws, like a great example is like prostitution, the war on drugs, gambling, or blue laws, that really its root is coming out from like an ideal of morality that doesn't necessarily affect anybody, and yet at the same time though that they're forcing it in that way because it's just an agenda. And you know where a lot of people get their morals from? Religious scriptures and religious texts. And if you ask me, that sounds like it's pretty damn close to bending, if not breaking, the First Amendment. Maybe that's just me, but it's like I talk to a lot of people, and especially no, I'm 27, and I talk to a lot of people in my generation too, and like an up and down and all around. But I hear a lot of people like agree with me a lot on those things, and I don't really hear many people disagreeing. And I'm kind of wondering like why it seems like our government is so locked into a way of doing things, and that like okay, drugs are now illegal, we have drug prohibition, and it's I mean, like anybody who takes 5 seconds to look at it, like with critical thinking skills applied, even for an instance, they would instantly see through it. And that people who are like protesting the war on drugs and want to criminalize everything and make it like horrible are people like President Bush, who admitted to doing cocaine. So it's like it's okay for his generation to do, but since he learned it himself, now he's gonna make it a law so you don't have to like worry about learning it on your own. You don't have to worry about living life. They'll live it for you. They'll tell you how to enjoy your life. Now, it just seems like there's something really fundamentally wrong with that. And we can go into details too. And I don't want to make this a video about like how the war on drugs and like drug prohibition has created crime, which it has, and that it's like increased the murder rate, which it has, and that it's like it causing a huge national deficit, which it does, and that 80% of all prison population is drug offenders, which it is, and that America is about the only country in the world that treats drug addicts like they're criminals, which it is. But that's not what I'm trying to get about. What I'm trying to get at, and it's really hard for me to get at, is like in its essence that whole mentality though of that we know better than you, we're going to tell you how to live your life. But it goes further than that. It's like Thomas Jefferson said a great quote. He said, a government that provides everything is a government that can take everything away. And that's so true. And quite frankly, the government's not your daddy, it's not your mommy, and like it's not there to wipe your ass and wipe your nose. And knowing the government, they'd probably be using the same tissue. But like the government should not have stake in running people's lives, and like it should not have stake in determining what is and what isn't moral. You know, what the government should do, the only thing that the government should function as, is that it should go ahead and say, these are civil rights. These are things that every person is endowed with the right for. You know, life, liberty, happiness, pursuit of happiness, religion, like personal philosophy, speech, journalism, like all these like core beliefs that we all have, that we feel that every human being has a right to, right? And that, like, to present these rights and to uphold those rights. That is the only function government should have. And if that means that they have to tax people so they can use these laws, that's fine. I understand that too. If they have to have a military so they can uphold it from foreign forces, I understand that too. But I mean, like, it just really starts to bother me though when the government, because of baby boomers voting, of course, like, has taken on this role, and it's really, really becoming a dark time and dark days for us, I think, because of it. And that, like, it's almost like society doesn't trust society to be society. Like, they don't want people to be individuals. They don't want that. They want like everyone to have the same ideals and like the same everything, and it seems horribly unethical. And you know, a lot of people will say, you know, the first steps towards fascism or totalitarianism or, you know, a dictatorship is taking away all the guns. But I think it's even a step further than that. I think the first step towards totalitarianism is when the government starts telling you what you can and cannot do based off of morals, and that's wrong. And you know, even more so with everything that I mentioned, though, and without exception, though, I mean, it's never gone well when the government has tried to regulate morality. I mean, aside from the hugely like unethical practice of it, you know, which is basically, if you ask me, it's got its roots deeply in theocracies. And if we want theocracies, then why the hell did we ever leave Britain? But that aside, though, um, man, you ever have a burp that just makes you forget your own like train of thought? No, but it's incredibly unethical though. But and what it is though is it's arising from religious texts, and it's becoming religious government. That's exactly what it's at. Um, anyways, it's really hard to compose all this into a single solitary thought and pick a direction, but I'm really hoping that maybe the boomers will do enough damage that we can learn from it. And I don't know, sometimes I kind of look at things and wonder, like, maybe 1984 was just a couple years too late too, because I don't know about you, and maybe like you'll be like, well, this is preposterous to compare the two, but like, on a grander scale though, aside from the regulation of morality, I also see this thing about where um it's almost like, I want to say thought control, like it's really, and I mean, like, I don't mean thought control, of course, though, like this way of thinking is illegal, but like there is a lot of sentiments presented to us in the media, and it's not really so much the government as it is business, and like the way that we've decided though, and the way that things have come together, I guess. That, like, of course, like I'm firmly believe though that there's a war on like the male gender though in the media, and that we're always portrayed as stupid, incompetent, and that like our sexuality is presented as something that's violent and like objectifies women, and that we're a horrible person if we have any kind of like male sexuality, and it's like, it's almost like male sexuality is being compared to rape, and that's horrible. But like, so I mean, that's kind of like a thought control to me, but also that like we're being told that we always have to be optimistic, and we always have to like be happy, and we're not supposed to be angry, and like anger is a negative emotion, and that, you know, there was a couple people who were really angry back in the day, and I like to call them my founding fathers. But if you think that you can like just take quotes from what the founding fathers did and run it through, like, say, Microsoft Office Word, and like scramble it around to still mean the same thing, but like just use synonyms and try posting that online, yeah, how fast do you think it would be before the FBI started like following your online movements and stuff, and like has you registered, you know? And I mean, I can get you in some serious trouble talking about what they did, and that should tell you something about the way that we're becoming, and that like how anger is wrong, and that like, you know, I mean, we ain't got Big Brother on a screen though, but we sure as hell have commercials everywhere we go. Even when we're standing in the checkout line, we got TV in front of us giving us ads. And we may not have lobotomies, but we sure as hell do have a bunch of like pill pushing, psychiatrists who think they know better than anybody else. But that's about my opinion, and that's about all the time I have. Thanks for watching. Please leave your comments, and I look forward to reading them.